President Joe Biden announcing on the weekend, Sunday specifically, that he's going to be ending, or he has ended, his presidential re-election bid. Florida-based attorney who I've been wondering why we take so long to reach him, because I know he has a lot to say. Marlon Hill is zooming in now to discuss President Biden's decision and his endorsement, full-throated endorsement, of Vice President Kamala Harris as the next president of the United States of America. Madame President, the first female, first black female. So many glasses to break. Marlon, how are you? Welcome to Smile again.
Good morning, good morning. Something to smile about this morning.
I know. It's good to see you, friend. First of all, I want to talk about, I know you're heavily steeped in this political thing. I was saying to Deb this morning that you were very instrumental in Barack Obama's campaign. For all the right reasons. I think you're even more vested now for others, but we can talk about that on the back end. What was your initial feeling in the lead up to his announcement? Were you one of those who felt as if his mental acuity was compromising him and that he ought to have stepped aside?
You know, Simone, President Joe Biden is just fine. Everybody just need to take a breath. But, you know, he's 81 years old. You know, who doesn't have a grandfather or a grandmother? I remember when my grandmother was that age and she was fighting with the fork in her right hand. And, you know, she has to choose when to give up the fork. And he did that. It's a very noble, patriotic thing for him to do, passing the torch at this juncture. And even though the circumstances are very, very unique in global history and American history, it is one that we're going to remember this summer. It's been a wild week of politics in the last week and a half. But it's now time to get focused. Simone, the Republicans had their say in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, in the Midwest, and the Democrats are expected to have their say now as they make their roll call, as they on the floor. Now Kamala Harris, Simone, has enough delegates. She has secured enough delegates, over 1976 delegates, but the vote has to happen live and they have to go through the process. Yeah.
And are you hearing any dissenting views? I mean, I've been watching coverage around the clock nonstop. I know I hear talk of Manchin re-registering as a Dem and throwing his hat in the ring. As far as opposition goes, is there anybody you think
I'm not hearing anything from the left. I'm not hearing anything from the right. I'm not hearing anything from the center or the back. Overwhelming support. You remember now, you know, this program has been very astute in following American politics for a number of decades. And as you said at the top of the segment, I was involved. This was 16 years ago, you know, Simone, right?
Yeah.
You know, and you remember the discussion that we had when President Trump was challenging Hillary Clinton. That was 2016. And there was unsettled support at that time. Right now, there's overwhelming support behind Kamala Harris. I was on a call last night with about 22,000 black men. There was another call that was held the day before with about the same number, if not more, black women.
Is that the Win for Black Men and Win for Black Women group?
Yes,
yeah.
Absolutely. And that was a global call. And, you know, the bottom line is that Kamala Harris, her story says it all, right? Black woman, Indian descent, Jamaican descent, went to a historically black university. She was attorney general. She was a state attorney. She was a U.S. senator. Everything that we ask of our young women to do to excel in the world, she has done it or is doing it right now. What's the purpose of being vice president if you're not ready to be president?
Which is what Biden actually said.
Yeah.
Thinking about Trump announcing his VP pick this week in J.D. Vance, thinking about Project 2025 and all that the Republicans are looking to do if Trump does get another term in office. And then on the other side, Marlon, I'm thinking about America and where the U.S. is at this point, this historic and pivotal point in time, the fact that you have somebody running for president who's just been convicted of 39 felonies, who is owing $450 million to the U.S., who has been called up on other charges that we won't mention, legitimately running for president of the United States, also old, by the way, 78 years old, running again.
Americans have a choice.
I know,
Simone.
they
Americans
do.
have a choice.
They
I think they have a pretty...
My question is, are they ready for this choice? A black female president. Where do you
They weren't ready in 2007, 2008, especially when you had the fight between Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, right? So the thing about American politics, Simone, is that you never know exactly what you need to be ready for. It's a democracy in motion. It's a culture in motion. These are real things, right? But politics is all about the electorate connecting to a candidate and being in alignment with their values. And you have a two-party system, and they will make a choice. They have made their choice in terms of their nominee, and the Democrats are about to make their choice in terms of who they want to lead America into the future.
Yeah, you've been a part of the political space for some time, Marlon. What do you foresee as some of the challenges that Kamala will face in this run?
Well, Debbie, I mean, that has to go with Simone's previous question, whether or not America is ready for a woman, a qualified woman like Kamala Harris, who happens to be XYZ, ABC, right? Are they ready? And the bottom line is that, we're not only voting for a president, we are voting for a president that's leading an organization that has a certain set of values, a certain set of issues. What I predict, Debbie, is going to happen in that last week, the Republican convention was all about a person. The Democratic convention that's coming up in August, pay very close attention. It's going to be all about us. Who do we want to be? Who are we about? Where do we want America to be? And, those who are Democrat, Republican, Independent, they will have to sort all of that out as to who they're most in alignment with in terms of leading the country. It's a very important moment in global politics.
And it reminds me of, the enormity of it. It reminds me of the 16 years ago that you mentioned, when there was another choice that was just incredible in terms of the development of the United States and the unprecedented nature of what was about to happen. I'm curious, Marlon, because we saw a lot of the underbelly of the United States at that time. A lot of good people, but a lot of rise to a lot of vitriol and hate that many of us probably knew were there, but never saw it full-faced. Since Kamala's or the VP's announcement, or this announcement, the possibility that she'd run, I've already seen one birtherism theory that says because her father is Jamaican born and her mom is Indian born, they weren't naturalized citizens, she cannot therefore be eligible to run. And so much else just creeping out and crawling out. Do you expect that we're going to get to the
You're gonna get a tsunami.
It's gonna be bad, isn't it?
Tsunami.
Yeah.
You're gonna get a tsunami of negativity. The thing about politics, Simone, is that politics is all about moments, right?
Yeah.
So 16 years ago, that was a moment, right? We're in a different moment now in 2024. Different generation, different voters. Those who were in their 30s are now in their 50s, right? So it's a moment, but negativity, you're going to have a different force of positivity pushing back. And that's what you're going to run into over the next 105 days now to November the 5th. Negativity versus positivity. And then you're going to see that unfold in the politics, whether they're going to have a debate or not, presidential, who does Kamala pick? And the bottom line is that for all the viewers that are watching, those of you who are US citizens living in Jamaica, do not forego this moment. Because the people are in charge of determining whether they want a negative force or a positive force. And that's what kind of happened in the moment 16 years ago. And we're about to see that dynamic again, but in a different generation.
Whew. So what needs to happen in the next 105 days, Marlon Hill?
The next 105 days, Kamala Harris has to earn the trust of the voters. They know her. But do they really know her, right? She really kind of needs to get out there and kind of tell her story. And you're going to see that unfold leading up to the convention in Chicago that's coming up in about a month's time. So pay very close attention to that. After she earns the pledged delegates vote on the floor, then you're going to see a whole different dynamic. She has already raised well over 70, I would say $70 million plus and counting in 48 hours. It's a record in American politics ever in that moment. That says a lot, which means that voters don't necessarily, they don't hold back. They give their support where they want to give their power. And you're going to see that on both sides, all right? So follow the money in some regards, but follow the energy that people are exhibiting in regards to their excitement, right? Because candidates need to connect to voters. And if you don't have a connection, then they won't be motivated to do extraordinary things.
Yeah.
And that's what happened 16 years ago. Different generation. So pay attention to that over the next 105 days. It's going to be a wild, wild ride, a very interesting microcosm of where America is right now. But as Jamaicans or persons of Jamaican descent, whether you are wherever you are in the world, this is an important moment, especially for someone like Kamala who speaks to our story. That says a lot, and should mean a lot to many of us.
Yeah. So you are going to be doing a lot of work on the ground.
I'm not certainly going to be doing any work on the other side.
That's a yes, folks, is what he's saying. Lots of work on the ground.
Don't let me pick up the plunger, you know.
Oh, Lord,
No, hey,
Marlon, no.
Marlon. I guess you were watching this segment before. Wow. Okay. Got it. And we know when you hit the ground running, you are hitting the ground.
When he gets going, he gets going.
Exciting times. Marlon, thank you very much for your participation in the process. And
The deadline to register to vote is October the 5th. For those of you who are eligible to vote, if you have family members, tell them to get themselves in order. If they are not undecided, it's okay.
And if they're in Jamaica, they can vote from here. Diasporans can vote from here. Just get your ballot sent to you and you can send it back.
Absolutely.
Okay, gotcha.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Florida-based attorney.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Marlon.
This morning. Exciting times, folks.
Mercy.
Exciting times.
Truly. Oh, my gosh. Guys, after the break, we speak with Builder Barbie. Stay with us.